Good morning, world. It's being able to come back with another video. Guys, this is federal government and drugs part 2. My first video, my camera cut off on me, so I wanted to come back with part 2. It's going to be a part 3 as well. Once again, guys, I want to thank you guys for subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate it. Very humbling experience. I ended my last video, guys, by indicating that I think it's weird and crazy that we not find out what's in the immunization and vaccination and flu shots that the government and the cities push for us to take. With actually being flu season, because like I say, being in H-Town here, we don't see a 30 to 40 degree drop from 75 degrees to like 40 degrees. The high today is 45. Come on, man. Okay? And so when I ended my last video with part 1, I talked about how, the heliocentrists can believe that we landed on the moon and all of that, but not quite understand that if we have all this technology, how can we not know all the drugs that come into this country? Okay? And that was the correlation I wanted to make. If we are, we have SpaceX, NASA, all these drones, all this technology, how is it that from an illegal standpoint, the drugs that come to this country, because, they tell us that 80 to 90% of the drugs come to this country coming from the south border, then how can we not stop it? Unless we in on it. I'm going to tell you something real quick, guys. Don't get it twisted. Don't think for 1 minute that every drug dealer that you ever known of, that you've ever known before, rather, I'm sorry. Pablo Escobar, all the top ones. Chapo. And this is down south. Now think about the ones in America. Okay? And I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they glorified them. Matter of fact, just go to Netflix. Because though Netflix is a government agency-led streaming system, that's why Netflix only show you shows about serial killers and drug dealers and comedy and all that kind of stuff. But when you want to watch like a show like Wall Street or something about finance, something about getting rich, it's not on there. Come on, Netflix. Why can't I watch Wall Street? Or why isn't, shows like that on it? Okay? But you'll put Chapo and Narcos and all these glorification of serial killers and all that stuff on Netflix. But you can't put anything on Netflix that's, and don't get me twisted, don't get it wrong. For the kids, they got a lot of stuff on Netflix for kids, but parents, I would definitely ask you to watch it because there's a lot of symbolism, a lot of stuff in there, subliminal stuff in there that guides our kids into the wrong direction. I don't let my kids watch that crap, okay? But Netflix, put some shows on there that everybody want to watch. Guys that want to invest. Why we can't watch movies like, why you can't have movies on there like Wall Street? Okay? But I digress. You start talking about, all this technology. 80, 90% of the drugs that come into this country come from the border. Come on, man. The United States have been the biggest drug dealers in the world. Since what? The 70s? Think about the movies. Scarface, American Gangster. These people are known because these are the front people. Okay? Don't think for 1 minute that there's ever been a war on drugs. Nada. Never. Nunca. Because if there was a war on drugs, then drugs wouldn't come to this country. Think about this. Trump want to build a wall to keep illegal aliens, allegedly, from this country. But just last week, and check it out, 500 pounds of methamphetamine just got confiscated last week or 2 weeks ago. And we have this so-called war on drugs, so-called war on opioids. Let's go back, guys. 70s, war on heroin. 80s, war on crack. 90s, ecstasy. You know, they really weren't tripping on the 90s because they had the 90s kind of sold up. You know, there was a boom stage for them. So they didn't really put a war on drugs in the 90s because they made a lot of money in the 90s. But then the 2000s, you know, methamphetamine, opioids, okay? But just 2 weeks ago, 500 pounds got confiscated trying to cross the border. So if 500 pounds got confiscated, how much you actually think actually got over here? Now, let me tell you something. Think about this for a minute. If it's coming to this country, people are buying it. Come on, man. If it's coming to this country, if, like say, 80 to 90% of all drugs come to America. You know why? Because 80 to 90% of all drugs is sold in America because people are using it. And then to have the real drug dealers send it all over the world. We're not all drug addicts in America. Remember, we're the consumers. We got to keep the corporations rolling. They bring the drugs over here so we can send them across all over the world. There's never been a war on drugs. That's the oxymoron. You dig? So, like I said, that's why I titled my video, Federal Government and Drugs. Because my first video, I talked about immunizations and vaccines and flu shots. Come on, man. I haven't even talked about the pharmaceutical companies. And these are the legal drugs. How you get diagnosed with a medical problem, go to the doctor, he tell you that you have a medical condition. You start taking these drugs. And you get worse. It's not supposed to happen, yo, because they kill you on legal drugs. See, you have this misnomer that, well, if I'm taking prescription drugs, I'm cool. But if somebody's smoking weed, ooh, they're bad. Come on, man, are you serious? If you control information, you control perception. If you control perception, you control a whole nation's sense of normalcy. It's normal for people to get sick and just go to the doctor and take pills that was made in a lab that they have no clue what it's made of. It's normal for you to drink milk from cows. But how can it be from cows when you know when a cow is pregnant and have a calf, and when the farmers milk that calf, that milk is not the same color as the milk that you drink at the stores. So why is the milk white in the stores but not white when it comes from the calf? But they tell you it's coming from the cow, but they tell you it's cow milk. Come on, dog. See, when I say federal government and drugs, it's across the board, yo. Think about this. Genetically modified organism, GMO. They tell you they're giving you GMO and we still buy it. Try this out. The most healthy food is more expensive. Think about that. The healthiest food that you can buy is more expensive than the cheapest, most unhealthy food that you can buy. Okay? So, understand, there's never been a war on drugs. Come on, man. Legally, we kill our people with drugs. Illegally, we kill our people with drugs. Don't get it twisted. The choice is yours. Open up your third eye. Be healthy. Because it's all a game. Okay? So, that's part 2, guys. Part 3 coming lately. shortly. This is Being Willie. May the Most High Saudi bring you joy. And I'm 95,000.